Welcome, everybody, to our first episode of Collider Bodyslam SmackDown recap. We did our first episode of the Raw recap for Collider Bodyslam yesterday, so if you haven't seen that yet, go there, watch it. Ryan and I break it down for an hour, have a lot of fun talking about Brock Lesnar and how he likes his steak, and we even get some steak, which is awesome.
How great was that?
Yeah, I mean, it was perfect timing. we don't plan that stuff out. How did we know Christian was going to finish his steak just as we were going to talk about steak? So there it is.
Those are the cool things that happen at Collider.
That's right.
When you're watching Collider videos, cool things like that happen.
That's right. Well, I'm John Rocha. For those of you who don't know, I'll be joined every week with by Ryan Satin. And if you don't know Ryan Satin, at Pro Wrestling Sheet, this man knows so much about wrestling. It's been so much fun having him come onto the Collider family and having someone else to nerd out and geek out about wrestling with, who understands the business and knows so much about the inner workings and the outer workings of the business. And Ryan, are you ready for SmackDown?
I am ready for SmackDown. I also want to say the same thing about you. I mean, this guy, when I came here, I thought I was going to be doing a lot of the stuff alone until we brought a staff on. I didn't know I was going to have someone so passionate about wrestling already here. And Rocha being added to the Wrestling Sheet team, I just want to thank you for everything you've done so far, because I love having you on the team. And okay, now to SmackDown, I liked SmackDown.
Okay.
I was, James McKenna, who works on the site, we were texting during the show, and he had the exact opposite reaction as I did. He was not a big fan of the episode. Okay. So I'm interested to hear, what were your overall thoughts?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun episode. I thought it got across what it needed to get across. And I mean, it's hard to one-up throwing a baby at somebody. So I mean, it's really hard to one-up that. But I felt like throughout the program, there were some shocks and surprises, and there were some storylines that were furthered and some drama that was introduced into situations that we're going to talk about that I thought seemed the timing seemed perfect for it. And the way it played out, I really enjoyed overall.
That's why I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
I think his main complaint seemed to be that there weren't a lot of matches on the show. It was really storyline heavy. It was a lot of promo heavy, segment heavy. But to be honest with you, for me at least, I like when we get some of those shows every once in a while. I mean, obviously every show can't be like that. It's not the Attitude Era. They need to have the matches. The matches are what people are there to watch. But also, a lot of people are there to watch the storyline factor, the soap opera effect of everything. And so I felt like this episode did a lot to get things in motion for SummerSlam in a better way than I had seen in the past, because a lot of times, a lot of SmackDown lately, it's been like the dream matches or too much focus on the match itself and not necessarily the storyline behind it. And I think a lot of the stuff this week really started to inject some interesting storylines into a lot of the stuff that's going on. Yeah,
I thoroughly agree. If you want just matches and no dialogue and no storylines, go to watch NJPW. That's your bag. This is not a SmackDown.
Yeah.
SmackDown has to do this, and I agree with you, Brian. What you said, they laid the groundwork. SummerSlam's around the corner, so you've got to lay the groundwork story-wise, powerfully, because the matches are really just filler until you get to the pay-per-view at this point. Now, this soon out, they're just filler to add to things, right? And of course, there was a big match that added a stipulation to the women's championship match, which we'll get to. But those are rare when you're getting the build-up into a pay-per-view. So I thought the storylines, I enjoyed the segments actually a lot, and they did a lot of those in Raw as well that I thought were great. You know, especially the Heyman Lesnar stuff.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. I think well, let's get into it. Because actually, the first one right off the top was one of the things that I really liked.
Yeah, Becky Lynch and Carmella had an in-ring segment with Carmella. She pretending to be sad, walks down. Becky Lynch does, nobody thought I could be a champion. I had to work for it, all this kind of stuff. I want to be a champion. It's my time now. I can get it. And the fans, she's over with the fans, which is so great to see.
Majorly over with the fans.
Right? Because she was losing for a long... When we first started doing Bodyslam, I was super upset at how much they were making Becky lose and job to these other female wrestlers. And I'm like, Becky is a good damn wrestler. And she tells a great story in the ring.
She was their first draft pick to SmackDown.
Exactly. You got to give her something to do. And so she did a great thing, like promoting herself and everything on this. And I loved how much more composed and powerful she was in this segment. It was really nice to see how Becky's come along in that way. And then Carmella comes in, full heel, does the full heel, tries to play that whole thing like, we're together, it's you and me, blah, blah, blah. Women together. We shouldn't be tearing each other down. We should be empowering each other. Then they play Ellsworth music, and she gets hit from behind, and we see the heel Carmella there, full force.
Okay, so are you a team Carmella? Do you like Carmella?
I hate Carmella. She's a great heel.
Yeah.
I just think she's crap in the ring. That's my honest opinion. She's crap in the ring. So it's me she was talking about when she's.
You're one of the ones.
When she was crying about how no one thinks I should be champion. All the old people come out on Twitter. But yes, I'm one of them. I'm not happily to admit that. I'm happy to admit that.
You see, I like that she's kind of a chicken shit heel. I like that we don't see Carmella wrestle all the time. Carmella.
There's a reason for that. Yeah.
See, I don't think that it's necessarily because of her in-ring skill.
Okay.
I think it's because Vince likes that she's kind of like the chicken shit heel of the women's division. That she evades, defending the title at all costs. That she evades the tough competition when she can, and when she does finally have to go up against it, she cheats. And I like that about her. I'm glad Ellsworth's back in the duo. I tweeted last night saying, I don't really understand people that don't like Carmella. I think she's super entertaining. And then
she's entertaining.
Yeah,
absolutely.
The replies though were a lot of yous of just well, her in-ring work is the fucking worst, and it sucks, and she's terrible. But what I will say with Carmella is, even if people don't like her in-ring skills, I do believe that she is doing a great job as a heel. I mean, the reaction that she's getting, I know a lot of people say it's because her in-ring, they don't like her in-ring skills as much, but also there's a large portion of that audience that don't like her because she's an effective heel, and she's getting the boos. She's actually getting under people's skin, which is what she's supposed to do. And I love that she is a good actress. We were talking yesterday about sometimes that not all the wrestlers are the best actors.
Right,
sometimes.
she could teach Ronda a million lessons.
Right?
Yeah.
Like she's one of the ones, in my opinion, where she's got range. She can go up, she can go down, she can be sad, she can be happy, she can be funny. She's just full of charisma, and that's what I love about her most. She feels like a new school female Michael Hayes. And now I know he's a good wrestler. I'm not saying maybe not in ring wise, but I just mean in terms of she's got that vibe, the real cocky vibe to her. And I really, really enjoyed this. I know that Ellsworth got fired last week. I don't think he's officially fired. I think, especially seeing they played his music again this week, and he's still kind of mentioned. I feel like it's a storyline thing, and he's coming. He's gonna be back at SummerSlam.
Oh, he's totally showing up at SummerSlam. Yeah. There's no way that doesn't happen. And but I will say this, and this is, as you're talking, Ryan, my mind is going, thinking about things you're saying, trying to process your points. And what the thing that I find is that what struck me last night, and because I was trying to fact, I was like, why don't I like what is it about her that I enjoy her as a heel, but what is it? And I think it's because there's a possibility. I hope I say this correctly. She feels like the old divas a little bit because she's hot, but she can only kind of wrestle, not really, but she still does good work. Like Mickie James was a phenomenal heel during the Divas time, and she could work in the ring and do those great segments outside the ring. So I think my frustration was I want her in-ring ability to match her ability as a heel. So that's where my argument. I don't have anything against Carmella. Go and get your money, girl. Go and be champion. Go do whatever. It's just that I would like her to be just a little bit better. But you make good points that maybe this is on purpose to a degree.
That's just what I was actually going to interject by saying right now is do you think that if given the opportunity, Carmella couldn't put on an impressive match?
I have to say that I don't know the answer to that.
Because I honestly believe that if given the opportunity, she could.
Yeah.
I just think that it's not what's being asked of her. There's so much emphasis that's always put on, because of Dave Meltzer and because of, Wade Keller and stuff like that. There's so much importance put on, match ratings and star ratings or pancake ratings, as we'll get to later with the New Day. But I think also a lot of people forget that not every match is supposed to be a 5-star match or 6 or 7 stars or whatever, and so I don't think the role that they want her to play is someone who's putting on these epic matches. I think that the role they want her to play is what we're seeing on TV, and that if given the opportunity, let's say she turned face, or let's say they had a character tweak, I honestly believe that Carmella does have it in her to put on a solid match.
Okay, I respect that you feel that way. When I watch her matches, she blows simple spots, and that bothers me. That leaves me with concern. And even in this match, when she did the Hurricane Rana, it was like every effort in her ability to do that Hurricane Rana that Lita can do in her sleep. And Charlotte had to sell it. Charlotte had to throw herself into that side. But look at but I will say one last thing. Charlotte doing the flip. That was terrible. Like
that was what I was going to interrupt you saying. I was saying it's not fair to say that Carmella isn't great in the ring and then talk about Charlotte when Charlotte never lands the moonsault.
She never lands.
She never lands the moonsault. And there
true.
was that I saw because I think I was cooking or I was like looking at my phone for a second, so I only saw the GIF on Twitter afterwards when she went to do like the cross body last night.
Yes.
Outside of the ring, and Carmella was nowhere near there, and so they had to kind of like play off of it. So everyone has their mistakes. Everyone has them. I really believe though that Carmella is money, as she says.
She is money. There's no doubt about it.
And in the ring, if given the opportunity, I just think that
Hey, and Enzo and Big Cass, where are you now? She's standing tall.
Exactly.
So you got to give her props for that. All right, as you mentioned, Charlotte did return at the end of this segment to save Becky as she was getting beat up. And then they had a conversation. Charlotte now will fight later on in the program for a spot in the championship match now against Carmella. If she beats Carmella, she's in the triple threat match. She's in a triple threat match in essence at SummerSlam.
You know what's weird is that Charlotte has really, since being called up, we've never really had like a long stretch of time that I can think of where she wasn't on TV.
Yeah.
Until recently where she had this, the implant thing that she was dealing with. It was nice to have her back.
I agree. She's the best of the best. And like she's a natural athlete. And she's emotional in the ring because she loves doing it. There's so much involved being a Flair.
Totally.
And so you see that all through her matches and you see how much care and effect. Even in the match when you're watching against Carmella later, she pushes the referee aside, goes, move! Like she's dictating what's going on in there. So you know that she's essential to the women's division. And I don't think it's as strong without her in it.
Yeah, she really has become a pillar of the division, especially on SmackDown Live, And I know that Becky in her absence was kind of getting re-pushed back out there, and people were happy about it. But I like that Charlotte's now interjected back into things because I agree with you that I didn't notice it while she was gone, but when she came back, I was like, the division was kind of missing something without her. She has kind of become like this. She's one of the top, one of the top girls and the top women in the company.
Absolutely. And speaking of top anything, I have to say that this Usos match versus the Bar was my favorite match of the night. The Usos have really turned me around. I hated them.
Really?
I thought when they started, they were just such easy plastic faces that I didn't think they had to work as hard. And I think the best thing that could have happened to them was that people kind of turned on them a little bit, and they turned heel, and then now they're kind of tweeners like The Rock was, and they're good at it now. Now they're free; they have freedom. There are just some wrestlers that can really come to the front and really get your attention when they are allowed to kind of spread their wings a little bit. And I think you see this with the Usos, and their in-ring chemistry has been fantastic as well.
Well, I'm a big Total Divas fan, admittedly.
There you go.
And when Naomi and Jimmy Uso were first kind of starting to be, main cast members on the show. But just when their relationship was being featured more, and you saw his charisma.
Yeah.
And even, Jay, when he was on there for an episode, he's been on there before as well. I remember thinking to myself, like, these guys are being wasted in the role they are in. And I always thought they were talented in the ring, but I just always felt like these guys as themselves could be way more popular. And so when they made the switch, I loved it. And now they're really starting to get their groove. Like, just in the past few months, like it was entertaining before, but to me, they really started to get in the groove of this character and feel like themselves. I mean, even the promo they did backstage this week
was great.
Was awesome. They were quoting The Rock or whatever, and then they were and I'm someone that, the reason I like NXT so much is as a producer, when I watch Raw, I feel like it's kind of lazy sometimes or SmackDown, Raw and SmackDown. I feel like it's a little lazy when every single backstage thing happens in the same two locations. You know, there's the interview zone, there's the office, and it's kind of like maybe a few hallway segments here and there. But, one of the things I like about NXT is that they try so hard to differentiate all the backstage segments. They have the reporters that are interviewing people. They have cool things like Velveteen Dream's whole CGI stuff. They have the NWO style Undisputed Era. So I like the attempt to make things feel different. When I first got the WWE Network and WCCW was on there, and people used to always talk about WCCW and all that. So I went and watched it, and one of the things I really liked about it was they had cool promos where guys are hunting and they're like sitting there in the hunting, out in the woods doing promos, or out in a bar like drinking. And I was like, these are badass. And I feel the exact same way about this cool dark hallway walk where they're like walking down all like tough guys. I think it's incredibly. It's just different. It's different than what you see in other promos out there, and it really helps get their character across.
Ryan, you're absolutely right. And those were the promos that I grew up on. They were shooting them out in churches, out in the fields,
Mr.
hunting.
Perfect.
Yeah, all these different places. That's what one of the last ones that I really enjoyed was that Booker T and Stone Cold in the grocery store. Those are the things that you like. We used to do. We used to enjoy watching growing up.
Like the APA, when the APA had their bar thing, they would always do.
Exactly.
I love that stuff.
But now the WWE is so big, those places charge super amount of money just to have them shoot a segment. So it's not as easy for them to do it. But back to this, like I enjoyed their backstage promo as well, walking through the pipes or whatever and all that shit, like underneath the stadium, which was great. But then I think, and I hope the WWE brass were watching this match closely because the audience was with the Usos. They were not with the Bar. And not because the Bar heel, face, whatever. No, they were enjoying the Usos, man. When they were doing that N64, they were going to do the N64 double dive onto the... I was like super excited to see that. And it was great to have Cesaro come in and do his uppercut, which was so. It was great to get the Bar back in the ring because they hadn't been in the ring in a while, and then
they're on SmackDown. And they're on SmackDown,
really. Exactly right. And good to see the Usos going back and forth. I thought.
Yeah, I have this thing with Sheamus where when he goes away for a while.
Yeah.
I forget that I kind of got over him. And then so when he comes back, I'm like, yeah, Sheamus is back. I'm excited about this. And then like 3 weeks pass, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, Sheamus is still here again, So I was excited to have the Bar back. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I actually did feel like similar to Charlotte, I missed them a little bit.
Yeah.
I do fear that I'll get over it quickly and I'll want Cesaro to go solo because I really think there's still money there. But yes, and like you said, this match was great.
Yeah.
This match was killer, especially because there were so few matches on this episode of the show. I thought it was great to showcase these guys in the way they did. I mean, the Bar... They were rested. They were ready to go. And like you said, when they first kind of gave the Usos this new gimmick and let them be more of themselves, they tried to make them heel.
Yeah.
And this has been one of those scenarios where the audience really turned that one away. Like, no, we like them.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how we want to cheer for them. So I'm glad that they're catching on as baby faces in this role because it really fits everyone well.
Absolutely. When the match was over, the Bar get confronted by New Day, who had been sitting there on the side, like had been calling the match on their own. I think my favorite was the shot of them all getting excited as they're watching the match, throwing stuff, and they're like, oh my God, this is the greatest, this is the greatest. They're just such masters at this, and it's really incredible, and I cannot say this enough, how rare this is to have 3 black wrestlers come in, take control of their gimmick, and get over on the audience. Because not a lot of black wrestlers, they get handed a lot of crazy gimmicks. Remember, this was a gospel gimmick initially. So, and they do something, and not a lot of them get a chance to kind of work the gimmick out and have the audience go along with them. And they really did. They just have, these guys, Xavier, Kofi, and Biggie, just have 3 distinct personalities, and they so work. And they can turn on the menace, as you saw at the end of this match, when they need to. They're fun, they're playful. But when they need to turn on the menace, they all came around the table slowly. They all got in the ring slowly and were good all up in the face of the Bar, and I love that.
Like our boobs might be out in weird ways in the clothes that we're wearing, but we will kick your ass.
Yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah,
no, and I'm with you totally. I was almost bummed that we didn't get to hear the full commentary from New Day. Because every time they cut back, you could tell they were in the middle of a sentence. So it's not like they weren't talking the whole time. And my favorite line was they talked about this match is 5 pancakes or whatever. This match 5 pancakes. That was the best. I mean, and even Kofi wearing like the Stevie Richards half shirt was so funny. And I loved it. I could listen to, like, they should do a fun thing on the network where the New Day does old commentary over old stuff or something like that.
That is genius.
I'd watch it.
I would absolutely watch that. Yeah. Wow. All right, let's move on to Samoa Joe. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be New Day versus the Bar. I think it's happening next week.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so that's going to be, we'll see how that's going to lead into SummerSlam. Then we cut to a Samoa Joe. He did a promo about AJ Styles, just standard stuff, I thought, pretty much menacing. You talk about it, right?
Well, so I will say, this is actually one of the ones that I was talking about where I liked that they injected some storyline into it, because I think that with Nakamura and AJ Styles, they played so much off of the dream match thing, and they did it for 6 months or whatever it was, like where it was no longer the dream match. It was like the match we didn't want to see anymore. Like, so they're like, oh, you begged for it? We're going to give it to you 100 times. And so, and I never, until Nakamura turned heel, I never felt like there was a real storyline attached to it. I felt like they were really just playing off, these guys are 2 great wrestlers, you're going to enjoy what you see. And Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles is a similar, to me, more of a dream match of something that I wanted to see in WWE because I loved their work in TNA so much back in the day. And so I thought they were going to go the same route. I thought they were going to go with, this is going to be a good match, so we don't need to necessarily inject any story into it. And so I liked Samoa Joe talking about AJ Styles' family.
Yeah.
Because that was intense. That, like, there are certain rules in wrestling, and like when someone starts messing someone's family.
In life.
In life. Yeah, exactly. Good point. And when you start bringing in, like, when you start talking about someone's wife and his kids and how, they want you to lose because you're never home and all that kind of stuff, that's when shit gets deep in wrestling, and obviously those two are so close with each other that, like, I don't think there's any, no one thinks that there's any ill will for real to them. But because of that, I like that it makes it a little more of a blood feud. To be honest with you, we don't necessarily see like a angry side of AJ Styles a lot. We kind of see the same AJ Styles character a lot, and I feel like someone talking about his kids might bring out a new vicious side of AJ Styles that I would like to see.
Yeah, he's usually the underdog. Even though he's the face that runs the place, he's usually the underdog and he's portrayed that way. And yeah, this is great because he took AJ's promo from last week and he completely manipulated it in such a perfect way that worked. And you could, and as a wrestling fan, you could admire that they turned these things around and made these real positive things into these negative things. And so brilliant, like your family is going to be cheering for me because they want you at home. They want you at home. It's just genius.
Yeah,
I respect your dedication to the craft to ignore your family.
Exactly.
Terrible.
Yeah. I love that, and but Joe looked real sweaty the whole time he was talking.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what that's all about.
I wasn't sure if it was sweat or like water he poured on his face, but I remember thinking, like, man, talking about AJ Styles' family makes Samoa Joe real sweaty. Like, he's not wrestling right now, but he is drenched.
He is sweaty Joe. He's a sweaty Joe in that one. All right, we went to a Jeff Hardy promo. I like the new shirt. I'm kind of interested in the new shirt, and he's putting on the, all the face paint, everything like that. Then he comes out. He calls out Randy Orton. He says, Jeff's never had the strongest bass in his voice, so it wasn't that intimidating to have him call out Randy. But then Randy comes to, Randy comes out, and then Nakamura hits him from behind, and then Randy gets in Nakamura's face, which is weird.
It was weird.
And then Nakamura does a Kinshasa, and then Orton takes care of Jeff Hardy, and essentially as the commentators are telling us, erasing his identity. He's taking his necklace and, taking the face paint off his face,
Can we talk about the fact that Jeff Hardy sold someone washing his face like he was being waterboarded? Like, Randy Orton wasn't like hurting him. He was pouring water on his face and then taking a rag and washing his face. And Jeff was in there like it was like the most painful thing ever. And I was like, you know what? I love this. This is one of those things where I know it's corny. I know it's cheesy. But these are the moments in wrestling that I love where it's just like so over the top that you pour water on your friend's face and they're not going to react that way, except for maybe it's too cold or something like that. But he was selling it like it was painful. I loved it. I loved that. Yeah. I thought it was great.
He ripped the necklace off. Ah! Not the necklace.
It reminded me of like that GIF that went viral. Not viral, but I saw a bunch on Twitter recently where it was back in the day when Vince was on the Titantron and Triple H threw the sledgehammer through the Titantron, and Vince on the Titantron screen reacted as if he was going to be hit by a sledgehammer, which couldn't have happened. So it reminded me of that.
Let's stop for a second about it. Do you like what's happening here with Orton? And do you think this is and Hardy? Do you think this is and Nakamura? Like, what is this leading up to? A triple threat match? What is this all leading up to? Is this just to give Orton something to do?
It gives it. Yeah, that's what it feels like. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I liked last week's whole anti-Legend Killer thing because my favorite Randy Orton was the Legend Killer. Oh yeah. And since then, it was that whole era of him versus John Cena on Raw every week that just made me like not care about Randy Orton. Yep. And as much as they try, as much as I try, and all the pieces are there. He's good. He's slick in the ring. He's great. I just don't care for some reason. Like, I don't know what it is. The heel face. Like, I don't know what they could do to make me care about it. And they probably don't care if I care about it, to be honest with you. But like, because there are people that do care about it. But anything he does is like, it just doesn't interest me anymore. And so Jeff Hardy is someone I like. Nakamura is someone I like. But when they get paired with Randy Orton, it just feels like this just like it's the life gets sucked out of things sometimes when he's involved, because that Vince, they care about the Randy Orton brand so much that that's what's more important. So I'm worried that this is going to end with Randy Orton as U.S. champion again. And I'm like, man, I don't want to see that. Like, I don't need that. And I guess because, because he's not in the world title scene, they want to give him something. But I just don't think necessarily like he's gonna have like a Dolph Ziggler like money left in him. That's just me. I don't know. I think there's still money in Dolph. I don't think there's money in Randy Orton anymore.
I think you make great points, Ryan. And the person I'm worried about most in all of this is Shinsuke. Like, why are we wasting Shinsuke with something? He is not going to bring his A game in wrestling matches against these guys. Like, maybe against Hardy in one match, but like when you throw Orton in, it throws the rhythm of a match off and between two high flyers like Shinsuke and like Hardy. So you got this going down, and then you have Randy. Randy just kind of pours water on the whole situation. I agree. And the thing is, the 16 years, I get it was a good promo. All of that, him pulling the earring, all of that was great, but in the end, you're still dealing with Randy Orton. And Randy Orton, for me, as much as I've admired his stuff that he's done in the ring, he also has a lot of like out of the ring stuff that's real questionable that bothers you, that you've heard about behind the scenes. So he's not an easy guy to cheer for either way. And when he plays when he was doing the heel, he was like goading the crowd to cheer for him, which is a little like, you don't do that. You don't need to do that. If you're a good heel, you don't have to beg them to hate you or boo you. You just do it naturally. And so that bothered me a lot as well. So all around, I don't know what his contribution is going to be to this feud. And if he ends up the U.S. champion, it's really going to suck because it's another way to beat down Shinsuke even more. And if I was Shinsuke with my contract coming up, which I read about, it's coming up, I would get the F out of here. I would go like, you know what? If you're not going to let me have the strap, I'm out. I'm going to go to NJPW. I'm going to go to someplace else. It doesn't make sense.
If I were him at his age, I'd stay. I agree with you in that sense of like he's maybe not getting the push deserved, but like the money, I mean, he's making good money. And if he goes back to New Japan, that dude's got to knee people in the head again all the time. He's got to take knees to the head. He's got to take elbows to the face.
True.
And here he's like wrestling, No Way Jose or whatever. He's not necessarily having to, do the strong style that he was known for. So he maybe gets to add a little bit of time to his, he adds some, money to his pocket. He adds years to his career. So maybe he might not necessarily care as much. But, kind of like you alluded to when we started talking about this, this whole feud just feels like the feud where they don't know what to do with these guys right now, so they just kind of said like, fuck it, we'll just have them all do something together.
We'll put them all together.
We'll put them all together.
We have to give them something to do.
Man, we gotta give Randy something to do at SummerSlam. We gotta give Jeff something to do at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Let's just Phantom create something out of blue and create some kind of strife between them that isn't there.
Because it didn't make sense when Nakamura came in and then Randy gave him permission to do the Kinshasa.
And then confronted him none of it makes sense.
Yeah, none of it made sense at all. It didn't track for me.
I get it. He's wild. I get it. Okay, whoa. All right, let's go. Becky. All right, let's move on. Becky Lynch is back there. Doesn't seem quite thrilled that Charlotte is getting shot at Carmella. Says she's never going to cheer against her best friend, which is a little weird. So there was a groundwork being laid here, and it's smartly being laid because we don't know which way this is going to go. We don't know if they're going to end up embracing at the end of the triple threat match, which we'll find out later is going to happen, or if one of them is going to throw a heel turn. We don't know, but I like that Becky seems kind of hard done by the whole situation. It really gets the fans behind her.
This was the other storyline that I liked. That they kind of injected something into because I felt like Becky versus Carmella would have been an afterthought if they were just kind of going straight up between the two of them.
Right.
And we're going to get into the Charlotte stuff, but, just kind of teasing some dissension between the two of them after they've played up them being best friends for the past, few months or whatever. I enjoyed it because Becky is, like we were saying, she's also a good actress.
Yeah.
She's entertaining. She's got great charisma. And to kind of see the wheels turning a little bit of why come fucking Charlotte gets everything?
Yeah.
Why is Charlotte come back for one day?
Yeah, why does she get to be even a shot at the title?
One day?
One day, yeah.
All she did was come help me. I came to help people all the time, and I didn't get title shots because of it. And so I you saw the wheels start turning there. I would like a Becky heel turn. I feel like as much as Becky has been a great face, they're not necessarily putting the push behind her,
Yeah.
And I do think that, a heel, Charlotte winning the title, Becky turning on her, and those two feuding for a good little bit, to me, those two wrestling against each other at Evolution is a more entertaining match than, I guess, Charlotte versus Carmella or something like that. So I think there's more legs to that, and I could see them going that way.
Yeah, and here I see it going kind of different. I see it that Charlotte is the heel turn after Becky wins the title.
Ooh.
And that Charlotte gets pissed because She's mad that Carmella took the title from her. She's mad that she had to go away for a bit. And here's Becky coming in. And so her jealousy, her frustration, her anger turns her into heel. And Charlotte heel is the best heel.
Charlotte heel is the best heel.
She cuts better promos when she's a heel.
Yeah, I don't like. Not that I don't like. I like Charlotte as a face. But
No, sure.
Yes, but she's much better as a heel. I mean, she plays the cocky role, even though that's really not who she is.
No,
in real
at all.
life
That's what's great about it.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
She plays that role really well. She fits into the Flair cocky role perfectly, and I do like her. But I just think the only reason I would like the Becky heel turn more is strictly because I want to see her get more TV time. And I feel like...
Do you think she could carry the heel role? Do you think she could do what needs to be done and really like do those promos? That's what I'm concerned about. Because Becky, at times her promos aren't necessarily the best, but like they're good enough. And so would she be able to do good heel promos? Like Carmella does great heel promos.
She does.
Right? Would you have that?
She does. I'm trying to think of who else is like the heel in the heels in the women's department. There's the Iconics.
Yeah.
There's
The Iconics.
there's Carmella. Or is there any other heels on SmackDown
Well,
right now?
aren't Mandy and
they're on Raw, right?
No, they're on SmackDown, aren't Mandy?
Oh yeah, they're on SmackDown.
with
they're
Paige.
heel. I guess that is kind of heel heavy.
Sonya Deville, right?
She would be kind of lost in the shuffle of all those people.
A little bit, especially because Carmella is kind of the alpha dog now in the heel division.
Yeah. All right. I'll go with your plan.
I just want to
I'll go with your plan.
I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just no. It could go Becky. I'm just saying.
I ingested it. I thought about it. I'm going with you instead. I think that you're right. I think that there's still time left in Becky Lynch, and there's still money left in her being a face. Good point.
I think they could push it, and that she could sell merch. I think Becky can sell merch.
Good point. And also, if she's a heel, we don't get all the funny like quinoa puns and all the like her cool Instagram stories that she always does and stuff. So
Dude,
good point. All right.
Her Instagram stories are incredible.
They're so funny.
They've gone to next level.
I'm like impressed every time I see them. And they get better every week. You're like, man, she's really putting thought into these.
Yeah, like the pictures that are just in between the action shots. I'm like, what'd you think to put those together? Like, you're so smart in this.
Totally.
I want to know who's helping you.
She has to. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
They can't be her at this
No,
point.
no.
They have to be a producer that's like sitting there helping her.
That
with
likes her and wants to help her,
Totally.
and they got to go ahead and do it. And now we'll move on to someone else I like, Zelina Vega. But Zelina Vega taking on Lana. Zelina wins this one with interference from Aiden English again, and of course Sienna Almas coming out. Sienna, listen, Lana's doing the best she can with her push. She does the whole dancing thing. I get it. Zelina coming out in that kind of Mexican crowd. That was
It was Aaliyah.
awesome.
It was like Aaliyah from what's that movie? The vampire movie.
Oh, the Battle Angel movie? Wait.
That's what she was supposed to be look like.
Yeah.
What was that movie Aaliyah was in? The singer Aaliyah, where she was a vampire. You're a movie trivia guy.
I don't know if Aaliyah?
Aaliyah the singer, not the wrestler.
Oh.
Aaliyah the singer, remember?
Yes. Dracula 2000 or something like that?
Hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. I bet you if I show you the picture, you're going to get it.
Okay. The Damned, something, Queen of the Damned.
Queen of the, that's it.
See, it's always there.
See, that's why you're the trivia guy.
You're right, man.
Check him out on Schmodown.
Nice. Doing my own outlaw heel face. Who knows? But Zelina, I love that.
Yeah,
gave
this
her,
one. That's that one, right?
Yeah, Queen of the Damned, that's her. But Zelina getting her shot here was great. I mean, Lana's a good one to give, like, kind of get her into the rhythm of doing something on SmackDown now. You give her Lana a good match, and of course, push storylines for the Lana, Rusev, Aiden English. Who knows what's going to happen there? But Zelina gets a good match out of here. And look, she's a good wrestler, man. I loved her all through, from TNA on. I've enjoyed her. Yeah, Rosita. So it was nice to see her get a match.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I also same thing. Like I've always been a big fan of hers, and when she was in NXT, we didn't really get a lot of her wrestling.
Right.
So I like that we're to know that she also wrestles. You know, and I think that's a good dynamic for their team. So it's not necessarily like she's a manager; she's also a wrestler. Lana, you gotta get. Like, I know people want to hate on Lana, but you gotta give her respect for trying and giving. Like, she gives her all when she's out there.
She does.
She did a spinneroonie, for God's sake. Like, she's like I get that all the pieces aren't necessarily there yet. She's putting them together still, and they haven't perfectly all clicked together. But she is going out there and she's giving her all. I mean, there was a time when they weren't going to give her a chance to wrestle at all. And the fact that she has been so persistent and now she's giving small opportunities here and there, and she's being, a more prominent part of this Rusev Day stuff and this whole storyline. I got to give props to her. I got to give props to Lana.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I wasn't always the biggest fan of her in-ring work, but like Corey Graves, says she's improving every week, and you do that. You see her adding more. tools to her arsenal, and that's all you want from a wrestler. You want a wrestler to understand what their weaker points are, work on them, and then try new things. You know, when people were bashing Cena about 5-move Cena, he started throwing in the leg drop from the top rope or whatever.
Even like the stunner, like the springboard stunner.
Yeah, springboard
he
stunner.
doing,
Those kinds of things. He tried to do these kinds of things, and so you like that. And with Lana, I think she's coming along, and she's going to be fine. And she's actually, obviously an incredible dancer, so she has the athletic ability to do these kind of things. Can she get to Alexa Bliss level? I don't think so. I think you have to have way more in-ring ability than what she has at this point. But who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But either way, she pushes the storylines in a good way. When she's mad, she's mad.
And I love her theme song.
Oh yeah,
Lana's theme song is great. It's my ringtone. I don't care. No.
Oh wait, answer me this, Ryan. Where the F did the accent go? When did we make this decision? Did it just happen and the fans were like, finally, good, let's move on?
Well, and it's weird because
no one highlighted it.
Well, the thing is it's very like what's his face from The Room. It's very much like where it switches in and out. Like you're really not sure because like 1 second it's there, one second it's not, and like so yeah, it's weird, because it changes every week. Sometimes she like some words have an accent, but then not all of them, and then like another promo is just totally Valley Girl, Lana status.
Yeah.
So I'm on the fence of it because I watch Total Divas.
Right.
There's no accent when she does it on Total Divas,
course.
so I'm used to her normal voice.
Okay.
But then when you watch on the show, you're like, but Lana has she's got an accent.
She's supposed to have an accent.
Yeah. So and it's not like Kofi Kingston where it got dropped and they kind of made a joke about it.
Yeah.
It was like she just stopped doing it one day and no mention was made of this. Yeah. Like no one was like. They could have easily been like, she could say like 1 second, like Rusev could have been like, oh, how are your dialect classes going?
Right.
And boom, done. Right. She's taking dialect classes. That's why it's slowly going away.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
It's confusing. Yeah, it's confusing.
Because when she was backstage, where were you? I'm like, and I rewound it. I was like, what? Because last week I thought it was kind of gone. And I wasn't sure. And then this week, I was like, oh, this is totally gone. What is happening here? Because she just cut a promo like a month ago where she was doing the accent. So it confused me that they've killed it. And maybe they should. Because it's like, let's move on. Like she's established now. We don't need the accent. We understand their relationship. Either. Right. So what do you think is going to happen here with Aiden? What do you think is the end result here? Does she run off with Aiden English? Does she turn on Rusev? Does Rusev turn on Aiden? Does Aiden turn on them both? Like, what's the situation here? Aiden's he's holding on like by the thing of his fingertips.
Please help. Please let me stay involved in this.
Let the last villains stay, please.
I think that Vince has never wanted Rusev to be getting the face reactions that he's getting. I think that, he was the heel, and in Vince's mind, even though they're technically, in my opinion, they're not cheering for Aiden English. They're cheering for Rusev.
Of course.
But when they added Aiden English to Rusev's act, I know for a fact it was an afterthought. It was literally like, what are we doing this? Let's just, whatever. Let's put them in a tag team. I remember it. It was like, it was the most afterthought ever. Like, I guess like just having this thing. They sang the thing once, like whatever. And they kind of like had him do it. And then it started to get over. Wow. So then they started doing it. And I honestly believe that in Vince's mind that getting rid of Aiden English could get Rusev back to the heel level that he wants him at.
Interesting.
That this whole thing is making him too jokey of a character, and he likes Vince likes the tough foreign heel, and so I could see Aiden English get the breakup happening, and that Rusev like beats the crap out of Aiden English and talks bad about Rusev Day. So like Rusev Day isn't it's Rusev. It's just me. It's not Rusev Day. There's no day. It's all about me. Like me and Lana, we crush. And like I could see that to try and like put a damper on all these like face reactions he's been getting, because that's how I see. Although at the same time, you think from a merchandise standpoint, the people are starting to buy the Rusev Day stuff. The Rusev Day thing is getting over. So. I don't know. I hope they don't go away from that, but that's what it seems to be what they're doing.
Yeah. It's an interesting game they're playing, and I wonder how much Aiden English knows his fate at this
probably
point.
Doesn't.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
No chance does he know.
You just go out and do this. Yeah, but does this mean we don't know?
Here's the sheet. You do what's on there, and we'll tell you later. We'll tell you next week what you're going to do then.
Who do you think you are, Cena? So we'll see what happens. And it could be interesting because obviously it seems like they're setting up that Aiden's going to mess shit up at SummerSlam, and so Rusev will lose or whatever match is going to be. And then he may turn on him, and then we'll get the return of the Lana accent. And she will... That could be it, right?
I could be cool with that, too.
I could be cool with that, too. This is better heels with them this way. Because they were great as heels.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah.
All right, so then we move on to Daniel Bryan. They had a whole segment. Oh man, this is getting too real. Honestly, it is a little. Having done Schmoedown promos myself and having tasted it when it's real real animosity between the competitors that I've had a couple of times, like the promos.
Is there like that with some of you guys?
Oh
sometimes?
yeah. Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Let's get everything straight about the Schmoedown right here. It's people when they first walked into the Schmoedown. There are certain people who made fun of the intensity that some competitors have. Then what's funny is you watch those people who made fun a year later, and they're just as intense, if not more so. They get stomach aches. They freak out. They got to go on walks for days. Like, this is the stuff. And I understand it. That's why when everyone has a meltdown after they lose in a Schmoedown or like completely gets like heartbroken, I understand. 'Cause I've been there. I pioneered that trail, son. So I know what it's like to lose when you could have had it all and all. So I always try to reach out to them and talk to them because I get it. But then some people come in and they think they know it all and they swagger and they talk their crap and they get in that ring and they blow it. And that I enjoy nothing more than someone who insults the game, thinks the questions are too easy, walks into a match and gets smoked. I enjoy nothing more because I'm like, you don't respect the game. If you don't respect the game is not going to respect you.
That's why I've been listening, catching up to the old ones to prepare myself. So
you're going to come in?
I'm easing my way into it by listening to the old ones to see how many I get right.
Oh, good call.
So that I'm like,
Smart.
well, to see if I'm like actually, and it's weird because some shows I'll get a ton of them right, and then some shows I get none of them right. So it's like it's this real hit and miss. And I'm like, oh, am I gonna get all the questions I don't know and look stupid when I go in there? So I just listened to the one that you and Jeff did because I was like, in the office
Snyder,
with those guys. That was a good one.
Yeah, we had a good time battling back and forth.
Yeah,
Jeff knows how to get under my skin. I love Jeff to pieces. We worked together. He gave me my first shot at writing stuff on the tracking board. But like when we go against each other, oh, it's nasty. It's nasty.
Yeah, it was great. That's why I loved the episode. I was like, oh, these are the two guys I work with. That's perfect.
It's pride, man. It's pride. But I respect how you're approaching because that's why you're great at doing this stuff with wrestling, man. Because you respect wrestling. You understand. You respect the wrestlers that take their time to understand the craft they're doing. You are watching these shows. You're not just walking in cold thinking, oh, I know a lot. You're watching these shows to get yourself prepped, and that says volumes about you, man.
Invasion.
Yeah.
Invasion's gonna happen, the Wrestling Sheet invasion's gonna happen. My co-hosts on Wrestling Sheet Radio, Jamie and Eli, they are pretty good when it comes to trivia.
Really?
Just to where I would probably have to be a manager in the situation because those two guys, they smoke me when it comes to trivia. So
you're saying there's two outsiders coming in to this to compete? Is that what you're trying to say? Hey, yo.
Survey says, I forgot that not everyone can see me on the audio. So the video guys saw that I was doing my best Scott Hall there. But yeah, survey says Wrestling Sheet's coming to Schmoedown.
Score one for the good guys. All right, so Daniel Bryan and
this promo got real.
This is unsettling.
It got intense. I mean, I didn't get to watch till I came into the office. I only saw the picture on Twitter that we had tweeted from the site account of all the babies on the screen, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I'm into it and I want to watch it. And I am of the belief that Miz versus Daniel Bryan is the most money feud that WWE has in its pocket right now. And now that they're pulling it out for SummerSlam. I'm excited about it. This promo was great. I do worry a little bit with the rumors that obviously Daniel Bryan's contract is coming up soon. I believe it's up in September.
What are the rumors?
And I don't know if I don't think he's re-signed yet. Ooh. So the rumor, I guess not necessarily a rumor. The speculation is that he might not re-sign. So them rushing into Daniel Bryan versus The Miz after they had kind of been holding off on doing it, I was wondering if they were going to hold it off to WrestleMania at this point. Now that they're pulling the trigger and doing it for SummerSlam, I'm wondering if they're getting this out of the way because he might not be re-signing.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know that. I don't have any insight to that. That's not like with inside info or anything like that. But, you got to think like that was something that it seemed like they were maybe going to hold off to WrestleMania on because it's Daniel Bryan's back for a little bit and they hadn't gotten to it yet. So I mean, if this were his last feud in WWE, it would be a good exit for Daniel Bryan.
Absolutely, and And this is great. See, I thought they were doing it because they were blowing the Cass feud, and whoever he fought after Cass, it was just a waste of time.
Yeah.
This filler stuff until he got to Miz.
The Bludgeon Brothers.
Bludgeon Brothers, right? That kind of stuff.
You literally, we already forgot about it.
It was so ridiculous.
I was sitting here trying to think about it,
It was so useless. But so to have him facing the Miz this early, this is an interesting point you bring up. I either think it's the beginning of a long program, or you're right, it may just be ending it.
I'll be honest with you. That's what I initially thought. I was like, well, maybe this Miz gets the win here.
Yeah.
And then it travels, this is something they do for the next few months until we get to WrestleMania again, and it's the culmination of it.
Right.
I had the same thought, but I did have a few sources float to me the idea that, Daniel hasn't resigned yet.
Interesting.
And they're going to this money feud now.
Yeah.
Are they going to this because they think he might be on the way out and they're going to get it done now?
And listen, let's talk turkey here. Miz is not 100% wrong. Some of the stuff he said in that he was being a heel. But him saying Daniel Bryan needs him, because look, it's not Daniel Bryan doing a reality show. It's not Daniel Bryan being the star in these movies, these feature films that are coming up. It's not Daniel Bryan who's like remade himself and become the star of a brand like SmackDown. He was essentially becoming the star on Raw, like Miz was. So Daniel Bryan, yes, he has the yes chance, but that's from another time, it feels like now. I mean, wrestling moves on quickly, man. So like to me, seeing this, I think he was shooting the digs correctly at Daniel. And then those babies, good God almighty, man. That was, and Daniel's back to the old stuff. And that's what Miz called him out on. He was like, say stuff about your wife, get everyone here, you fight, lose, repeat. I'm so tired of this cycle. And you're just like, man, he's just like called out his entire character.
You're like, damn, dude, why you gotta call him out like that? Like, why you gotta put him on blast
I
like
know,
that, Miz?
You just poured water and took his face mask off. I mean, what the face paint off? What's wrong with you, man?
You know how painful that is, Miz. That's like waterboarding status, man. I agree with you though. Yeah, I like it's honestly Miz and Daniel Bryan since day one. They have been cool at like shooting from the hip.
Yeah,
I mean, even from the old NXT days, like when he was the pro for Daniel Bryan, and was kind of like shooting on the indies a little bit, and work shoot type stuff. But they've always done well playing off of that.
Yeah.
And now that they're both these big superstars, I mean, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's great.
Where do you think this goes?
I mean, it really depends on whether whether Daniel Bryan resigns. I really think that if Daniel Bryan resigns, then it goes longer. But man, I could see. To be honest with you, I feel like they're going to give it to the Miz, regardless of what happens.
So you think the Miz will win this one?
Miz is winning SummerSlam,
Really?
I think.
Okay.
Because regardless, I mean, let's say Daniel Bryan doesn't sign.
Yeah.
They're not having him beat him.
Right. Vince never does that.
No.
Only CM Punk, and that was because they were further along in negotiations.
Yeah.
Then they let on. Yeah.
And if he does re-sign, well, they're still not really probably going to have him win because then like the payoff is even better if they prolong it, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So you'd think no matter what, Daniel Bryan's losing here.
So my logic is I think if he signs, then they have Daniel Bryan win. I think they have Daniel Bryan win and Miz get frustrated. And Miz become the one chasing Daniel Bryan, which is an interesting twist.
That is a different dynamic.
Right?
Yeah.
And you can drag it out. And then Bryan starts going, well, look, you're busy. You're distracted. You're not the champion you were before. So this starts to question, and then maybe you can have him and Maurice have these like arguments backstage or on the set or whatever. Like there's a lot you can play with there if you go that route where Daniel Bryan starts to get under Miz's skin instead of vice versa. I don't know if it's possible, but it's certainly there.
I want to see Daniel Bryan and Brie do their parody version of Miz and Mrs.
Holy crap.
To like go off of the Total
Holy
Bellas
crap.
parody thing, because that would be funny.
That would be genius.
That would be so good. And I'd love to see Brie acting like she's Maurice and Daniel Bryan doing the whole same thing. That'd be so good.
Oh my God, that'd be genius.
Yeah, they got to do it. Free idea for you, WWE.
There you go. Walk the line of heel, too. All right, so the last match of the night was Charlotte versus Carmella, the champion Carmella. Charlotte won, and so she is added to the title match at SummerSlam. We've kind of talked all around it. So what did you think of the match overall? And then what do you think about the fact that she's going to be in this triple threat?
I mean, the match was what it was. It wasn't anything like, mind-blowing or anything like that. But I like it. I like that Charlotte's in the match. I like that, more of a focus is being put on the match of the three of them. I think like we were saying initially, Charlotte is the pillar of the women's division. She's been gone for a little bit.
Yeah.
Carmella's been more focused on Asuka. So it makes sense. I wonder, what they're going to do with some of the other girls at this event.
Yeah.
So, but maybe they're going to save some of them for Evolution stuff since Evolution is taking place not long after. So I don't know. We'll see. But I think it was a good choice to get Charlotte in there. Definitely adds much more intrigue to that match.
Absolutely. That's what I agree with. And some people might have been upset that they added Charlotte because he just came back off of injury. But I think what you said is a great point, right? It's intrigue. Now we don't know what's going to happen. Right? Because we had the idea that it's probably Carmella's going to win, or if Becky Lynch wins, she might drop it again on Monday to Carmella. So it's certainly possible. But now you throw Charlotte in as an X factor. We don't know which way it's going to go. And this is the antithesis of throwing Randy Orton into the Shinsuke Jeff Hardy thing.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah,
Because
totally.
you throw Charlotte in, you're like excited at what can happen. And with Randy, you're not that excited to see what's going to happen. So I like this idea too. And I don't know what what his role is going to be. I don't know what Charlotte's going to pull out. I don't know and there might be hints of heel turns before they happen. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So there's a lot to play with here. And once again, Carmella could end up being the champion because those two take each other out.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep, absolutely. And,
Some other way to keep the title.
There's definitely going to be shenanigans in this match. There's no question here that something is going to happen to help further things going forward. And so, much more intrigue added to the match now. I'm excited for it.
One of the things that I thought about recently was, wouldn't it be funny to have a heel like Carmella like start a relationship with a referee? So like a dating situation, so that the ref is like conflicted. It was continue to do his job. So you call him the question in.
Have they never done that
No,
before?
I don't feel like they've ever done that before. I don't
so
remember.
Either. Not that rings a bell. That's a great idea.
And usually the referees are old, so it would be weird. But there's some younger referees roaming around that you see, and dudes in shade. Like you could believe it as a way for Carmella to keep the title.
You know?
Do you know what I'm saying?
I like that idea.
It's a shit heel thing to do.
And they've done, because they've had, what's his face? They've had, Scott Armstrong was kind of like the corporate referee for a minute.
Right.
But yeah, we've never really had a referee that wanted to hook up with one of the wrestlers.
That's what I'm saying. It could be something.
I like that
where
idea.
you find out later, because like you find out later that he's like in the back and he's like got pictures of Carmella and on his phone and shit. Like it'd be a whole thing. It could be a whole thing. I'm just saying.
I love that idea.
Really?
I think that's a great idea.
Good. That means I'm okay. If you approve it, I'm good with that idea.
No, I love that idea. I think that's a great one. Another free idea.
There you go. Well, come on now. So overall, you enjoyed SmackDown. You're excited for what's going to happen for next week. And
absolutely.
See where we're
I think it was a solid episode of the show.
Okay.
I know that it wasn't maybe wrestle heavy. It wasn't a ton of 6-star matches. We really just kind of had like, as far as great matches are concerned, we had the tag team match. But yeah, storyline heavy, and I'm a big storyline fan, so I thought a lot of good things were done in this episode.
One last question: do you think the Zelina Lana thing is leading to Rusev versus Cien Almas, even like a whole program? Because we had the match last week, but do you think it's going to be a whole program? And
that's the vibe I'm getting.
Tag team, like a mixed match too.
That's the vibe I'm getting.
Okay,
I would like that. I would definitely like that. They kick Aiden English to the curb, and then they firmly have heel. Well, is he? I guess no. I guess he'd be the face because
yes,
more the heel. Yeah. So yeah, I like that because I am of the belief that Rusev is fun. The Rusev Day stuff is over as hell.
Right.
It's one of the most over things they have going right now.
Yeah.
And so yes, I think that Rusev could help Cien get over. Especially as a former mean foreign heel, he could kind of like give him some advice, help lead the way a little bit. Because I do think that Cien, really has a chance to be, the next Albert Del Rio or something. Not, in terms of like the Mexican guy that WWE gives an opportunity to. As like this is the guy for the Mexican audience. I'm a Hispanic dude, so I'm like all Viva la Raza to Cien Almas.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah.
And also, they could work that way in putting him over, and then in the end, I wonder how this could. Aiden English could turn on Rusev and Lana, and then go with Cien Almas. So he comes out and he sings it in Spanish.
Oh my God!
Couldn't it be?
Yeah, I love that.
Es el día de Vega, something like that, or Día de Almas, something like that. He could do it.
Oh my God, that'd be so good.
Right?
Get him a full mariachi outfit.
The whole nine.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Love that.
Yeah, it's such a good idea.
We'll see what happens. Anyway, all right. Well, that was our recap of SmackDown for Collider Bodyslam. That's Ryan Satin. Where can they find you, Ryan?
You can find me. I'm at Ryan Satin. The website, obviously, is at Wrestling Sheet, ProWrestlingSheet.com. While you're here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're putting out a bunch of content. You guys see us. We're doing lots of stuff on here. So make sure you subscribe. And then make sure you subscribe to the Wrestling Sheet radio feed as well. It's available on iTunes, Podcast One. We've got a weekly slate of shows shows. These two, the recap shows, Top 5 with James and Kevin. We've got Wrestling Sheet Radio that comes out on Fridays. And yeah, now that it's available on video and audio, please subscribe all around, rate, review, like, share, everything. It helps out a lot.
Everything he said. And of course, Aaron Turner has a show on Saturdays exploring the indie wrestling stuff, which he's working out now. We'll I guess those episodes are coming up soon, hopefully.
Yeah, Aaron and I, we're working on it today.
Great.
He's still trying to work out a few kinks in terms of his co-host and stuff like that, but we're working on it.
Yeah, so you'll see Aaron Turner soon. And you can find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. You know everything I do here. So thanks, everybody, for watching everything Ryan said. Subscribe, comment, do everything. And let the people know, let the people in charge know that you're enjoying these shows and you like all the wrestling content that we're doing. Because that's, Collider bought Pro Wrestling Sheet because they see a future here with Pro Wrestling Sheet. That depends on you guys. Give us some love. Give the show some love. And we'll see you next week on Collider Bodyslam Recap SmackDown.
ProWrestlingSheet.com